Hello, and welcome to the International News Daily Podcast. I'm your host, Dennis Donicic. Today, I'm going to be taking you to Afghanistan, Haiti, and we're going to be talking about an international issue, or an upcoming international issue. So, let's begin. Recently, we've been talking a lot about Afghanistan, and for good reason. Historical and major political events are coming and happening to the country. In the last 2 days, we've talked about the Taliban's new program and promises to the Afghanistani people, where they have stated that they will be a more modern, progressive, and accepting and inclusive Taliban government in force, an inclusive Islamic government for all Afghans. They promised that things that happened in their previous government from 1996 to 2001, such as thieves having their hands cut off, lapidation or stoning, execution by beheading, or women not being allowed in schools or the workplace would not be a present occurrence in the modern Afghanistani government ruled by the Taliban. Things were a little bit different today. In the province and in the city of Jalalabad, protests erupted after Afghani citizens decided to remove the Taliban flag and replace it with the flag of the Afghanistan Republic. This comes one day, tomorrow is August 19th, which marks the Independence Day of Afghanistan, since 1919, when Afghanistan received its independence from the United Kingdom, at that time the empire of the British Empire. The Taliban responded to these protests and to the removal of this flag violently, forcefully, and brutally, leading to at least, for as of what we know now, one death. In addition to this, the Taliban have toppled a statue of a well-renowned Shiite military leader. I don't know about you. Maybe my standards are too high. But toppling statues, killing protesters, and negotiating with potential terrorists are not symbols or signs of a progressive, modern, and inclusive Islamic government. We will see what the future will develop and how things will look like in Afghanistan in not the coming weeks or months, but probably in the coming days. Let's hope for the best. In Haiti, following a 7.2 magnitude earthquake which hit over the weekend, the Haiti Civil Service has stated that there have been at least 1,941 deaths. In addition to this, 9,900 individuals have been seriously injured or wounded. This is unfortunate for a country that does not have the infrastructure to react to such kind of injuries and to meet the needs of the wounded. Almost 10,000 people being wounded, in addition to an effort to find more victims under the rubble, has led to Haitian hospitals and the medical system being completely overflowed. The medical system and hospitals do not have the beds, do not have the equipment, do not have the staff, do not have the ability to meet the needs of all these people. And there have been scenes, unfortunate scenes of injured Haitians waiting outside of hospitals to receive medical attention in the tropical and extremely high Haitian temperatures. That being said, foreign aid is coming in, though it is very slow. The U.S. Coast Guard is currently focusing on taking patients, injured patients from hospitals that have too much of a logistical pressure on themselves and placing them in hospitals that are more free. In addition to this, adding insult to injury, a literal raining insult is Tropical Storm Grace, which has been hitting Haiti on Monday and Tuesday, raining on the heads of Haitians who have been displaced from their homes and are currently homeless due to the earthquake that has destroyed their former abodes. Hopefully, the situation does get better. Haiti is a beautiful country. That being said, it is not the most fortunate country. It is one of the world's poorest countries, depending on what statistic you want to use. In fact, it might be the world's poorest country. The infrastructure is lacking. The people do not have their own personal resources, and this will be a difficult time. But the Haitian people are strong and they have faced adversity before. It is not the first time that they have faced struggle, and I'm sure that they will pull through. But I also hope that the international community can bond together to help them in these trying times. Moving forward, we're going to discuss a very serious issue that is difficult to talk about without getting into political ideology or debate. And if you want to debate, feel free to do so in the comments section. We're going to talk about refugees. And yes, this does relate to Afghanistan. Some people say that lately I've been talking too much about Afghanistan, and maybe that's true, but too much has been happening in Afghanistan. The reality is already thousands of people have fled Afghanistan, either via the airport in Kabul or through some of the country's neighboring nations, primarily Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan and Tajikistan. And Iran. Recently, Turkey, Uzbekistan, and Tajikistan have enforced much stricter, much harsher border policies to reject and prevent Afghanistani refugees from coming in. The Turkish government has not decided how it wants to react to the vast number of refugees that it's already had come to their borders. These refugees were primarily from the former Western-backed coalition's government, or from the army. As they were fleeing from the Taliban, they walked through Iran. They literally trekked and walked through the entire mountainous country of Iran to make it to the borders of Turkey. Now, Erdogan has stated that he will work with Pakistan, who has been a strong ally and almost a big brother of sorts, or some form of sibling state to Afghanistan in the past, to resolve the issue with the Afghani government to prevent there being a large refugee crisis. But the question now finally falls to, if there is a large refugee crisis, and keep in mind, current events in Afghanistan show that the Taliban may not be as progressive, democratic, and inclusive as they would like you to believe. If people from Afghanistan choose to flee, a country with a population of 33 million, this could lead to a major and a vast immigration crisis. Previous immigration crises, such as the one in Syria, the European Union and European countries, such as Germany, France, Croatia, Italy, the United Kingdom, had to take this burden. So I leave you with a question today, and maybe you can answer it in the comments. Who is responsible for this immigration crisis? Who's going to take care of these immigrants? They're not fleeing to go to Uzbekistan. They're not fleeing to go to Turkey. No one wants to go to Uzbekistan. No offense, it's a beautiful nation and a beautiful country with amazing people, but the economy is not prosperous. It does not offer a lot of opportunity. Turkey, on the other hand, its currency is worth less than monopoly money. That's not an actual fact. It's a characterization, but it's relatively true. These people want to go to countries like Germany. They want to go to countries like France. They want to go to countries like the United Kingdom and eventually the United States of America. Whose responsibility are these refugees? Tell me what you think in the comments. That's it for tonight. I look forward to you being in touch and tuning in on the next episode of the International News Daily Podcast. Like this video. Dislike this video if you disagree with what I'm saying. I don't care. Comment and subscribe. Let's build a community.